Hi everyone, welcome back for Python playlist. In the Python playlist, in the first class we learned data types and variables. In the second class or in the second tutorials we learned about arithmetic operations. In the third class we learned comparison operators and bitwise operation. And in the last video we discussed uh, the simple coding questions, right? For example, like adding two numbers and finding the average, how we get the user inputs and how we convert those input into integers and float. Okay, so in today's class we are going to learn about if conditions. So we have already completed these things: data types, arithmetic operations, and these things. So today I'm going to start if condition. So in the fifth video or in the fifth tutorial we are going to learn about if conditions. Okay, now I'll take a simple example. Okay, so for example, if I take 4 plus 5, so if you add 4 plus 5 like using Python, what is the output? The output is 9, right? So we have only one output. Okay, for example, I'll take another two numbers: 10 plus 10 divide by 2. So here what happens, first we simplify inside the bracket, then 20 divided by 2 is 10.0, is it? Then the answer is 10.0. Why? 20 divided by 2 is 10, but in Python the decimal or the division always provides a float value. Okay, so the answer will be 10.0. So if you take these kind of questions, we have only one answer, right? We have only one answer now. I'll take uh, uh, a scenario like this. Okay, so you have a coin. Now you are going to flip the coin. So if you flip the coin, we have two options. Is it? We have, obviously we have two options, right? So it can be head or it can be tail. Is it head or tail? Okay, so in this scenario, actually we don't have only one option or one answer. We have at least two, right? So if you take this one, we have only one answer or one option. 4 plus 5 is always equals to 9. Okay, again if you take this one, 10 plus 10 divided by 2 is always equal to 10.0. No options. So if you take this scenario, like flipping a coin, if you flip a coin, you might get two results, right? So the first one, it can be head or it could be tails, is it? I'll take another example. I'll take a number. Okay, a number. Okay, so let me call this. Okay, now I'll call it. So now I'll take a number like x equals int input. So we learn these things, right? Like how to input a number from the user, and I'll put a message: enter your number. Okay, now if you put this message, now I'll run it. Now if you run it, it will ask you to enter a number, right? So in this example you can enter a positive number. Is it? 12 is a positive number. And also you can input a negative number, right? For example, minus 12. It's possible now. So even if you take 12 and minus 12, those are numbers, those are integers. So we can input positive or negative numbers. So in this example, do you understand? So in this example, the thing is the user can input a positive number and also user can input a negative number. Is it? So the number can be positive or number can be negative. So in this time we use something called if conditions or if. So if means like we have more than one option. So if you take this example, so these two, we have only one option, right? Okay, so if you take this example, like flipping a coin, again we have two options. So even if you take this one, like the determining the user input is positive or negative. So we have two options. The user can be input a positive number, and also user can input a negative number. Is it clear? So if we have more than one option for a given problem or a given scenario, we use if conditions in Python. Okay. Now I'll explain this one using a code, then it will be very easy. Okay. The third question. So this is the third question. The third question is, what is the third question? So the third question, we have check if a number is positive or negative. Okay. Now user can input a positive user can input a number. So here you have to check the number is positive or negative. Okay. Now this is the code. So I already code this, then I'll just copy this, otherwise it will take time if I type these things again. I'll paste it here. Okay. Now first what happens, so in this line what we do, we input the number, right? Okay, so first we input the number, we have to convert the number into float or integer. So here the thing is, so the reason why I put float instead of int, the reason is, so if I put integers, I can't input I can't input float values, right? For example, if I use int here, I can't input a float value. Okay, so but if I put float, if I put float, still I can input. So I'll explain it again. Okay, so if I put integer, what happens? If I put integer, I can't include float numbers like 10.5, 12.7. These are float numbers, right? So I can't input these numbers. But if I put float, I can input float numbers, and also I can input integers. So for example, if I input 10, 10 is an integer, right? So if I input 10, it takes the value as 10.0. It doesn't matter. So 10 and 10.0 has the same value. Is it? So if you take 10.0, it's a float one. If 10, it's integer. So that's why I use float. Okay. Now I'll run it. Okay, so first I'll run it, and before the if condition, I'll print num. Okay, now I'll run it again. Now I'll input 10.5. Okay, now if I input 10.5, what happens? Okay, now I input 10.5. First I'll clear this. Okay, now if I input 10.5, what happens is it converts into float. Is it 10.5? Now num is equals to 10.5. What is the first? I mean, in the third line, what we do, we print num, right? So if I run this, first it will print 10.5. Is it? Now here we have two options. Okay, now you tell me how you determine a number is positive or negative. For example, if we have this number line, this is 0 and these numbers are positive, the positive side, and this is negative side, right? Is it? If the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number. Obviously it's a positive number, like 1, 2, 3, 4 and all. So if you take -1, -2, -3, these are negative numbers, right? If the number is greater than 0, obviously it's a positive number, or else it's a negative number. So the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number, or else it's a negative number. Okay, so if I take num, this is the number we are going to enter. If the number is greater than 0, what happens? If the number is greater than 0, it's a positive. Is it? If the number is smaller than 0, it's a negative number. Okay, so then what happens? So the message is, if the number is greater than 0, we have to print, or we have to output like a message like the number is positive, or you can put like any message, the given number is positive, you entered a positive number, it's a positive number. Okay, you can use any message, it's up to you. Like, so here I use the number is positive. Okay, so here what happens is, the now num is 10.5, right? 10.5 greater than, so we have learned this greater than symbol, right? 0. So after that we put this colon. Okay, the colon means the condition. Okay, so this is compulsory. So if you don't put the colon, you will get an error. Okay, so when we put if condition, while loops, for loops, and break continuous, so many things we will be learning. So in all these conditions we use colon. So here what happens is, okay, now what happens is, if you put the colon, it will automatically keep a space here. This, so this is what we call as indentation. So indentation means this line is belongs to this if condition, is it? This line is belongs to this condition. Okay, and then, so we have two options, is it? We have two options. So if the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number. Else means like no. Okay, so here, if the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number, no? It's a positive. If the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number. Okay, or so if I input 10.5, what happens? 10.5 is a positive number. Now it checks 10.5 greater than 0. Yes, is it? It is yes. So yes means it print the statement, is it? If the if condition is true, it print this statement. Else means like no. For example, now we have num greater than 0. Now I put -2. Now you tell me -2 is greater than 0. -2 is not greater than 0, right? So here it's false. Is it clear? Now if I input -2, I'll erase it. Now if I input -2, what happens? Now you tell me -2 greater than 0. No. No means like else. Is it clear? If it is no or else, it print the number is negative. Is it? So always, we we will learn flowcharts and pseudocodes. In the next class, we will learn flowcharts and pseudocodes. So after that, we will learn while loops, for loops. We will learn flowcharts and pseudocodes for each concept. For example, in this class we are learning if condition, right? So in the next class we will learn how to use flowcharts and pseudocodes for if conditions. Okay, so it's like this. So in flowchart we have the symbol, right? Num. So we have the variable. The variable is num. We are checking if num greater than 0. So we have two options, like yes and no. If it is yes, it's a positive number. If it is no, it's a negative number. Do you understand? So it's really simple. Okay, now I'll run this code, then we'll check the output. Now I'll input 10.5. Now you tell me what happens. Okay, if I hit enter, first what happens? Print num. So what is num? Num is 10.5, is it? And we check 10.5 greater than 0. Yes, it is yes, right? It is yes. So now num is 10.5, is it? Now num is 10.5. Now you tell me 10.5 greater than 0. Yes. Yes means it's print the statement and it will end the program. So after these lines, actually we don't like have any codes, right? Then it simply stops the program. Now I'll input a negative number and we'll check the output. Now I'll input -23. Okay, now if I input -23, okay, if I input -23, what happens? -23 is an integer, is it? -23 is an integer, right? So what happens is it converts into a float number. Now it is -23.0. Now if you print num, it will print -23.0. Now num is -23.0, right? Now you tell me -23 greater than 0? No. Is it clear? No. So we have two options, yes and no. So no means like always else, yes means if. Okay. 23.0 greater than 0? No. No means else. Else the number is negative. So simply it prints the number is negative. Now if I enter here, the number is 23.0 and the number is negative. Okay, so the thing is, you can do like we can do like this now. Okay, so if the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number, or else if the number is smaller than 0, the number is negative. Did you understand? So now you can, so if you change the sign into smaller than, just change the message positive. Okay, so here what happens? Okay, now I'll input 20. If I input 20, it converts into 20.0, right? Okay, now if you print num, it print 20.0. Now you tell me 20.0 smaller than 0. This is smaller than, right? 20.0 smaller than 0? No, it's not, right? It's no. No means else. Then it print the number is positive. Is it clear? The same thing. If you change the sign into smaller than, just change the message. That's it. Now I'll run it again. Now I'll input 20. Here the number is positive. First what happens? It converts into float 20.0. 20.0 smaller than 0? No. Else. No means always else. Print the number is positive. It's it's okay, right? It's really simple. Okay. Now I'll change it again. So this is what we had, right? The number is positive, else the number is negative. Okay, negative. Okay, now we have a problem in this question. The problem is, now I'll input 0. Now if I input 0, now you tell me 0 is a positive number or a negative number. Okay, now we'll check the output. If I input 0, it print the number is negative. Why is that? Now you tell me 0 is a negative number. 0 is not a negative number, right? So we have 0. Smaller than 0, these numbers are negative and these are positive. But 0 is not positive and also 0 is not negative. So here what happens is, if I input 0, it converts into 0.0 into float. If you print num, it prints 0.0. Now you tell me 0.0 greater than 0? No. Is it clear? 0.0 is not greater than 0, right? It is equals to 0. Now in the previous class, like in the second tutorial, we have learned greater than or equals to and greater than. There's a difference between these two, right? So here we use only greater than. No. 0.0 greater than 0? No. For example, so we have 5 and 5. Now tell me 5 greater than 5? No. 5 is equals to 5. So if we have greater than or equals to, then it is true. Is it clear? But 5 greater than 5? No, it is false. So here what happens is 0.0 greater than 0? No. So the condition is false. False means it's like no. No, right? No means else. Else, print the number is negative. Then it print the number is negative. Is it clear? Now if I input 0, the message is the number is negative. Okay, so we have a problem in this code, right? We have a problem. Obviously we have a problem. So if I input 0, it print the number is negative. Okay, now how we overcome this issue? How we overcome? Now even like if I change the sign into smaller than, and if I change these two, still it print the number is, then it print the number is positive. So I'll do it. Now I'll change this thing and I'll change the message. We already did this. Okay, negative and positive. Now I'll run it again. Now I'll input 0. Now if I input 0, now it print the number is positive. Is it clear? It's wrong, no? So in the previous one, if I input 0, it print the number is negative. Now if I print, sorry, if I input 0, now it print the number is positive. So we have a problem in this question, right? Okay, the problem is if I input 0, there is no specific output. Now what we are going to do is we can do something like this. Okay, now I'll put the greater than sign again, then like it is easy, positive and negative. Okay, so while negative, so you type this code while you watching the video. Okay, the thing is, okay, now the logic is like this now. If the num greater than 0, so we have two options, yes and no. Okay, yes means if the condition is true, it's yes, like it's if no means it is else. So what we are going to do is we are going to use another if condition. Okay, so in the else part, what we are going to do is again we are going to use a if condition. Is it clear? So if it is else means no part, no. If it is else, again we are going to check like this. Again we are going to check if the number is more than 0. If the number is greater than 0, it's a positive number. Okay, no means it is else. So in the else part, again we are going to use a if condition. Okay, again we check if the number is smaller than 0. If the number is smaller than 0, then it's a negative number, or else the number is 0. Is it clear? Now I'll code this, then you will understand. So in the else part, so actually in this question we have more than two options. For example, if you flip a coin, obviously we have two, so could be head or tail. But in this question, like we have a problem, like the number can be positive or number can be negative, but number can be 0 also, no? Is it clear? Now we have more than two options. So here what we are going to do is for else part, again we are going to use if condition. Again we check if the number is smaller than 0. If the number is smaller than 0 and you put the colon, now you click enter. Now this statement is belongs to this if condition. Okay, again hit backspace. Now you type else. Okay, else, then what happens? Print the number is 0. Number is 0. Okay, now I'll run this, so after that I'll explain, then it's easy. We have an error. What is the error? Syntax 0, invalid syntax. Okay, okay, sorry, I didn't put the variable name, no? Num. Okay, now I'll input 12. So if I input 12, what happens is, if I input 12, so in the tut, I mention only if and else. Okay, so that's why I all told you to keep a separate book and also type these codes while you watching these videos. Okay, the thing is actually I didn't include it, like every lines and every codes in the tut. Okay, so like the tut is for your, like like it's like a guidance. Okay, the main thing is your practice in the Python. So here what happens, so if I input 12, if I input 12, it converts into float, right? 12.0. Then now it print 12.0. Now you tell me 12.0 greater than 0. Yes, it is yes. So the answer here we are getting is yes. Yes means print the number is positive, so it won't go for this else part. Is it clear? Now I'll run. Now if you run it, now I'll enter 12, 12.0, and the number is positive. Is it clear? Now I'll input -3. Okay, -3. Then what happens? It converts into -3 and -3.0, and it print -3.0. uh, then what happens is, now you tell me -3.0 greater than 0. No, the answer is no, right? No means else. The else part, again we have if condition. Okay, now you tell me -3.0 smaller than 0. -3.0 smaller than 0. It is yes. Is it clear? -3.0 smaller than 0, so minus numbers are always smaller than 0, right? Yes. Yes means it print the number is negative, and it complete the code, and it won't go on for else. So else part means if the condition is false, right? So here the condition is true, no, then it print the number is negative. Okay, now I'll input -3, and we'll see the output. I'll run it again, and I'll input -3. So if I input -3, now if I input -3, print the number is negative. Okay, the number is negative. It's easy, right? Okay, now the last option. Now we'll input 0 and C. Okay, now I'll input 0. Now if I input 0, what happens? This is 0 0.0. 0 0.0. Now you tell me 0 0.0 is greater than 0. No, 0 0.0 is not greater than 0. Else, so no, it's not. Then it goes for this else part, or no. Again we have a condition. Now you tell me 0 0.0 smaller than 0. Again no, right? 5 5 is not greater than 5. Again 5 is not smaller than 5. 5 is equals to 5. Is it clear? Again the condition is false. 0 0.0 smaller than 0. No, no means again else part. Then in print the input number is 0. Okay, now I'll run it again, and I'll input 0. Okay, I already input 0. Now we'll check the output. 0 0.0, the number is 0. Is it clear? So this is how it works. So in the previous code, the thing is, if we input 0, like sometimes it print positive, and if we change the sign, then it prints negative. We had a problem. Okay, now it's okay, right? So if we input 0, it won't print positive or negative, so it indicates the number is 0. Okay, so this is the answer for the first question. So it depends. So in this question we have more than two options. So for example, like if I take okay, the in the fifth example we will do that one, then I'll explain that. This is the third one. What is the fourth question? The fourth question is, check if a number is odd or even. Okay, this is the fourth question. Now I'll get the code. I already typed these codes, and it will be easy for us to like manage it. The question is, what's the question? I'll read the question again. Check if a number is odd or even. So this is the question. The question is, so we have to write a Python program to determine a input number, and input number is odd or even. For example, if I take 20, so we know it's an even number, right? And if I take 11, we know it's an odd number. Now you tell me how you define this, like this number is odd and this number is even. Okay, so there's a small thing, right? So even numbers are always divisible by 2. So if I divide 20 by 2, answer is 10. But if I divide 11 by 2, so here we are getting a decimal point. So in the even numbers we always have a decimal point, right? So in the second tutorial we have learned those arithmetic operations, right? Can you remember? Like if so here actually we can use the remainder operator, like 20 remainder 2. 20 remainder 2 means first we divide, right? 20 into 2 is 10, sorry, the 10 into 2 is 20, and the remainder is 0. But if I take a odd number, what is the remainder? Here it's 5. 5 into 2 is 10, and the remainder is 1. So I'll take 40, again it's a even number, divide by 2, how much? 20. 20 into 2 is 40, and remainder is 0. Now I'll take 49, it's an odd number, again I'll divide by 2, how much? Here it's 24. 24 into 2 is 48, remainder is 1. Is it clear? So in odd numbers always the remainder is equals to 1. In even numbers always the remainder is equals to 0. So simply we can apply this logic for the question. So first what you do, you take the input from the user, okay, and you put this condition: if num greater num remainder to equals to. So this is equals to. So there's a difference between assignment, like these two, right? So this is equals, like this is assignment. For example, if you input 20, it assign this 20 to this variable. This is equals to. So here we are checking whether these two values are equal or not. Okay, like 5 is equals to 5. Is it clear? Now if I take like this is 5 is assigned to x, so this is 5. So here we are checking actually 5 is equals to 5. Okay, so we already discussed these things, or like if you like don't have a like proper knowledge in these in these things, please watch previous videos and come to this part. Okay, so in odd numbers always remainder is equals to 1, in even numbers always remainder is equals to 0. So this is the simple code, right? Now if I input 20, what happens? The number is even. Then what, now I'll explain the code. If I input 20, now it's integer. So again you can use float or integer, it's up to you based on the question. Okay, now here what happens is, now number is equals to 20. 20 remainder 2 means 20, first we divide, right? 10 into 2 is 20, and the remainder is 0. So the answer here is 0, right? Now you tell me 0 is equals to 0. Yes, 0 is equals to 0. No, then it print the number is even. Okay, now if I input like minus, sorry, now if I input 11, what happens? 11, 11 remainder 2 means 11 divided by 2. Here is 5 into 2 is 10, remainder is 1. So the answer here we are getting is 1. Now you tell me 1 is equals to 0? No. 1 is equals to 0? No, right? Then else the number is odd. Okay. Now I input minus 20. Like, so even if you like, you can input minus numbers. It like first I'll input odd number 21. Then it print the number is odd. Okay. Actually, these questions are really easy. The if condition is really easy. Just apply the logic. Okay. So in this question also we have that problem. Now if I input 0, what happens? Okay, now I'll run it and I'll input 0. The number is even, but 0 is not an even number, right? And also it's not a odd number. So here again what we can do, we can use like else and if, like the previous question. Okay, again for else part we can use if num remainder 2 equals to 1, then it's an odd number, right? It's an odd number. Then use else. Else is here. Else you can print the message like this: print the input number is odd. Okay, now if I input 0, what happens? It print the input Sorry. Okay, so in this question, okay, now I'll explain. So here, so now if I input 0, what happens is, okay, if I input 0, what happens? So in this question, if you do like this, your like our logic is wrong. The reason is, now if I input 0, what happens is 0, 0 remainder 2 is equals to 0. Now you tell me, can we divide 0 by 2 and get a remainder? No, right? It's not. So in this time, what happens is the output will be the input number. So this question, so this example we already discussed. Now I'll take like this 5. Okay, now I'll get this. I'll get these two numbers 5 remainder 8. Okay, 5 remained 8. And here what we do, first we divide 5 by 8 and we'll try to get a remainder. The thing is, actually we can't divide 5 by 8 and get a remainder, is it? We can't divide 5 by 8 and get a remainder. So in this time the answer will be the input number. This is the answer. So here also you get the answer as 0. Is it clear? Now if you type the if you type like this, we have a problem. Now, like, still the answer is 0. Now you tell me 0 is equals to 0, then yes, then again you print the number is even. Is it clear? Okay, so if you do like this, still it print the number is even. Okay, so in this question, so the first thing we have to determine the input number is 0 or not. Is it clear? So the first thing, now this is how you do this question. This is the approach. So first what we do is, if number is equals to 0, it's like this. First we check whether the input number is equals to 0. If the number is equals to 0, we print this message. Okay, we print this message. Okay, I'll erase it. If the number is equals to 0, we print this message. So then we have else part, right? So in else part, now again I'll use the if condition. If num remained 2 is equals to 0, then we print the number is even. The number is even, else we print the number is odd. Okay, now we'll try this code. Now I'll input 20. Now if I input 20, what could be the output? The number is even, right? Okay, now we got the number is even. Now we'll input a odd number, minus 21. Okay, now if I input if I input 21, print the number is odd. Now I'll run it again and I'll input 0. The sorry, so the message is the input number is 0. Okay, not odd. The input number is 0. Now if I input 0, what happens? And now if I input 0, the input number is 0. Now is it clear? So here what happens is, so before we check the number is odd or even, first we check the number is 0. Now if I input 0, what happens? 0 is equals to 0, yes, then it print the input number is 0. So if it is 0, like we can't like if it is 0, the number is 0, right? So 0, like we can't take 0 as a even number, or else we can't take 0 as odd numbers. Is it clear? If it is, the number is 0, it is 0. Okay, so we can't differentiate 0 into even or odd. So that's why we do like this. First, if the number is 0, you print the number is 0. So after that you put this condition. Okay, so this is else. So in this else we have if, and again we have else. So here we have something called elif. Okay, elif means else plus if. So instead of typing else and if separately, you can type, so we can actually type like this. So what you do is, so straight away we can use this elif. Okay, so in Python uh, we can use elif. Okay, and finally use this else. The indentations are important. Okay, now first I'll run the code and I'll input the same number like 20, then you print the number is even. I input 21, then print the number is odd. Now I input 0, print the number is 0. Okay, now here what happens is, so first what we check if the number is 0 or not, right? Okay, so first we using a if condition. First we check the number is 0 or not. So this is yes. So if it is no, again we use the if condition, right? No means like else, no means else, and again you use if condition. So using elif, actually we combine these two. If you understand the same thing. So in the else part, we put if and we put a statement. Again we put else, right? So here what happens is we combine these two. And we only put else there. Okay, here else plus if is like elif, you put a condition and you print the number is even. Finally else, print the number is odd. Is it clear? Now this is how it works. For example, if I input 20, now you tell me 20 is equals to 0. No, no means else. Okay, in else part again we have a condition. No, again we have a condition. For this else part again we have a condition. Now you tell me 20 remainder 2 equals to 0. Yes, it's a positive number. It's an even number. No, then in print the number is even. Is it clear? Now if I input if I input 11, now you tell me 11 is equals to 0. No, no means else. In else part again we have if condition, so that's why it's elif. Now you tell me 11 remainder 2 equals to 0. Again no, right? Again no. No means finally else. So actually if we don't have any of these option, finally comes to this else part, then you print the number is odd. Now here, now if I input 11, it print the number is odd. Okay, again you complete the code for the fourth question. So and actually in the question I only use if and else. I didn't use those else, if and all. Okay, so it's up to you. In the so that's why I didn't include everything in the tube. The reason is like if I input everything, you don't practice these things, right? Okay, so you make sure you have a book, a CR book, and the tube, and all the programming questions. Okay, the programming questions means while you watching the video you practice the code. Okay, the fifth question, I will move for fifth question. The fifth question is, check if a person is eligible to vote or not. Okay, the question is really simple. Okay, so this is the question, this is the code for the question number 5. Okay, so in Sri Lanka also we have this rule, right? So for example, age. So if a person age is greater than or equals to, means if a person age is 18, he can vote. Is it? Or else, so if the age is like more than 80, like 90, 20 also, we can vote, right? Okay. If the person age is greater than or equals to 18, this person can vote. If the age is like greater than or equals to 18, can vote, or else he can't vote, right? Okay, the question is really straightforward. The now you tell me, can we use float? In this question we can't use float. The thing is age. So if you take age, uh, age like can't be 10.5, right? Okay, so age is always, it's an integer like 12, 16, 18, 25. It's an always an integer, so that's why we use it. In this question you can't use float. Okay, so even if you if you put float, your program will work, but normally we don't take age, sorry, the age as a float number, right? It's always an integer. So this is the condition. Check if the person is eligible to what? This is the condition. So if the age is greater than or equals to 18, print you are eligible to what? So you can put any message like you are eligible to what, or like any message related to this. Else print you are not eligible to what? It's really simple, right? So in this question, actually we don't have elif, or we can't use elif. The reason is greater than or equals to. Greater than or equals to means actually here we have only two options. Is it clear? In the previous two questions, like we had like three, thing is we didn't have like this greater than or equals to, smaller than or equals to, right? Okay, so if you take a age, okay, any age falls under to these two categories, right? For example, if I take 18, it comes under this category. The reason it is greater than or equals to. If I take 17, 17 greater than or equals to 18, no, no means else. Is it clear? So in this question, we have only two options. Now we'll check the output. Now I'll input 30, then 30, what happens? 30 greater than or equals to 18, yes. Then it print, you are eligible to what? Now I'll take another example. Now I'll take 12. Now if I take 12, what happens? 12 greater than or equals to 18? No. No means else part. Print, you are not eligible to what? Okay. Now I'll input 18. Now if I input 18, what happens? You are eligible to what? Again, the message is you are eligible to what? So if I input 18, what happens? 18, 18 greater than or equals to 18, yes. It is not greater than, but it is equal, no? So we have this equal, no? Yes. Then it print, you are eligible to what? Okay, again the question is really simple. Now we'll move for the sixth question. The sixth question is check if a number is divisible by 5. Check if a number is divisible by 5. Okay, now you pause the video. Now you pause the video and try the code first. Okay. Okay, now we'll do the sixth question. This is the code. So what is mean by divisible by 5? Okay, what is mean by divisible by 5? For example, if I take 12, this is not divisible by 5, right? So divisible by 5 means no remaining. For example, if I divide 12 by 5, we have here we get a decimal point, right? So but if I divide 5 by, sorry, 15 by 5, the answer is 3. So here is like 2 point something, right? The thing is divisible by 5 means if you divide a number by 5, the remainder is always 0. For example, 15 divided by 5, 3. 3 into 5 is 15, the remainder is 0. Is it clear? So if the number is divisible by 5, the remainder is equals to 0. So simply you use this logic for the question. So first you take the input and you check and you put the condition num remained 5 equals to 0. If it is yes, the number is divisible by 5. Else means no part, the number is not divisible by 5. Now I'll input like 10. So 10, so if I input 10, what happens? The number is divisible by 5, right? So how it works? If I input 10, so 10 remained 5 equals to 0. So 10 remained 5 means first we divide 10 by 5. Here it's 2. 2 into 5 is 10. Remainder is equals to 0. Now you tell me 0 is equals to 0? Yes. It is yes, right. 0 is equals to 0. Then you print the number is divisible by 5. Okay. Now I'll take another number like 17. Now if I input 17, what happens? 17 remained 5. So how we do this? 17, first we divide, is 3, 5 into 3 is 15, and the remainder is 2, right? It is not 0. So here the answer is 2. Now you tell me 2 is equals to 0? No. No means else. So in the else part we print the message, the number is not divisible by 5. Okay. And the next question, check if a number is positive and even using nested if. Okay. Check if a number is positive and even using nested if. Okay, so what is this question? Okay, so here first we check the number is positive or negative. Okay, and also here we have to check if the number is positive, the number is odd or even. For example, if I take 23, it's a positive number, right? And also it's a odd number, is it? If I take 26, it's a positive number and also it's an even number. Is it clear? Now we have to write the code to determine first. The thing is, the first thing, check the number is positive or negative. If the number is positive, again you check the number is even or odd. Okay, so if we have if condition inside another if condition, we call this one as nested if. Okay, now I'll explain the code. This is the code. So first we input the number from the user. This is the code. First we input the number and we check. So first we check the number is positive or negative. Okay, if using if num greater than 0. So we have two options, yes and no. If the number is greater than 0, obviously it's a positive number. Okay, no means obviously it's a negative number, is it? So if the number is positive, again we check the number is odd or even. So inside this if, so this is yes and this is no. So inside this if, again we have if condition. So in the previous question, for the else part only we had, again we put else and if, right? So here what happens is, if it is yes, again we are using if condition. Again we check if num remainder to equals to 0. If it is yes, the number is positive and even, else the number is positive but it's odd. Is it clear? Now like if I input 20, what happens? 20. Now you tell me 20 greater than 0? Yes. Yes. So inside this if condition, again we have another if condition, right? Now you tell me 20 remainder to equals to 0? Again yes. Is it clear? It's a positive. It's a even number. No? Then it print the number is positive and even. Okay, now if I input 21, what happens? Now you tell me 21 greater than 0? Yes, 21 is greater than 0, right? 21 is greater than 0. Now you tell me 21 remainder to equals to 0? No, 21 remainder to means first we divide, 10 into 2 is 20, remainder is 1. Now you tell me here is 1, no? 1 is equals to 0? No, no means this else part. Is it clear? Then it print the number is positive but it odd, and it will completely stop the program. Here it's like this. So these conditions are belongs to, these two conditions are belongs to this if condition. Is it clear? So once it print the number is positive and odd, it stopped the it's stop the program means it stopped this if condition. Now if this if condition is okay. Now if I input -3, what happens? Now you tell me -3 greater than 0? No. -3 greater than 0? No. No means this part. So actually it won't check these conditions. The thing is, here the condition is false. -3 greater than 0? No. No means else. And it print the number is not positive. So not positive means it's a negative number. Now we'll check the code. First I'll input 20. Okay, now if I input 20, print the number is positive and even. Here 20 greater than 0, yes. 20 remainder to equals to 0, again yes. Then print the number is positive and even. Now I'll input 21, then what happens? 21 greater than 0, yes. Again we have if condition. 21 remainder to equals to 0, no. No means this else part. Then it print the number is positive but it's odd. Okay, now I'll input minus 3. Now you tell me minus 3 greater than 0, no. No means this else. Okay, so this else for this if condition, this else for this if condition. Okay, see the indentation here, this is if and this else for this if condition. Now if I input minus 3 greater than 0, no. No means this else part, print the number is positive, the number is not positive here, the number is not positive. So even here, so even if you input a minus number, this minus number can be a odd number or a even number, right? Is it? Now actually you can complete this task using your knowledge. Okay, so here for the else part, again you can use if, and you can like num remainder to is equals to 0, then what you print? Then what you print? The number is not positive but odd. Okay, then else what do you print? Print the number is not positive but odd. So here it's even. Okay, now it works. Now if I input minus 4, it's a negative number or it's not positive but it's even. Here now it print the number is not positive but even. Is it clear? So in the tutor also I just put if and these things for else part I didn't put if condition again. Okay, now you can actually complete this part as well. Again, now you can combine these two. No, you can take this one here and you can just use elif, right? Okay, now we can use straight away, now we can use elif. Okay, so you make sure you are practicing these codes. Okay, now just take this one. Now this is elif and you put else, and now we can keep the code like this here. Now if I input minus 30, what happens? The number is not positive but even. And if I input like minus 21, the number is not positive but odd. Okay, the last question is check if a person is eligible to vote and is a senior citizen using nested if. Okay, check if a person is eligible to vote and is a senior citizen using nested if. Okay, now it's your time. Question number 8, you complete it. In the next video I'll explain the code or I'll explain the code. First you complete the code, so after that we'll discuss. So guys, see you in the next video.